सरस्वत्यै नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। कंठमे जिनके विराजता हलाहल गंगाजलं शीश पे भाये अंग विराजे जिनके गिरिजा पत्नी स्वयं पार्वती। नंदी कार्तिक गणपति के सहितं केदारनाथ प्रभु केदार गिरि पे सदा ही रहते करते सदा मंगलम। मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पार्वती नाथ सर्वमंगल मंगलम। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचंद्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। लाल दिहलालील से अरुधरि लाल लंगूर भज्र देह दानव धलन जय 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 कपीसूर। Devotees, you all join in this simple Ganesh Kirtan. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Devi Parvati Pita Mahadeva.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva.
एकदंत धैर्यवंत चारिभुजधारी माथे सिंदूर सोहे मुसकी सवारी।
एकदंत दयावंत चारिभुजधारी माथे सिंदूर सोहे मुसकी सवारी।
एकदंत धैर्यवंत चारिभुजधारी माथे devotees. What I'm going to recite now in the form of a prayer is one of the most popular Hindu bhajans that was made popular by Gandhi ji, and called Nalsin Metha, and it was in the Gujarati language. I'll read its translation first, so while we focus on Vishnu Bhagwan and the divine, we can have an understanding of what we are seeing and who we are praying for. The name of this bhajan is Vaishnava Janato. One who is a Vaishnav or a devotee of Vishnu and could be extended to a devotee knows the pain of others, does good to others without letting pride enter his mind. A Vaishnav tolerates and praises the entire world, does not speak ill of others, keeps his promises, actions and thoughts are pure, and that person, the mother of that person, is blessed indeed. A Vaishnav sees everything equally, rejects greed and materialism, respects women as he respects his own mother. Though his tongue may tire, he will utter no untruth, and he never touches the property of others. A Vaishnav does not succumb to worldly attachments. He has renounced lust of all types and anger. The poet, Nelson, would like to see such a person by whose virtue the entire family gets salvation. If you know it, you can join. Vaishnava Janato Tene kahiye ji Pir parai jani re. Vaishnava Janato Tene kahiye ji Pir parai jani re. Par उपकार करे तुए पर धूति उपकार कतोए मन अभिमान आदि रे. वैष्णव जन को तेने कहिए पीर पराई जाने रे. सकल लोक सहुने वंदे निंदा न करे के नीरे. वाच काज मन निश्चल राखिए धन धन जननी दे नीरे. वैष्णव जन को समदृष्टि ने तृष्णा त्यागी पर श्री जिन माता रे. जीव्या तकी असद्य न बोले बरधन नव झाले हाथ रे. वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए
पीर पराए जाने रे.
मोह माया व्यापे नहीं जिन्हें दृढ़ वैराग्य नातन मारे कपट रहित छे काम क्रूर निवार्या रे भले नर से दिनु दर्शन करता कुल उपथे कार्या रे वैष्णव जन को तेने कहिए पीर पराई जाए वैष्णव जन को तेने कहिए पीर पराई जाए पर दुखी उपकार करे तो ये पर दुखी उपकार करो तो ये मन अभिमान आने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए
पीर पराए जाने रे
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए पीर पराए जाने Devotees, it is hopeful that that very short song has set the mood in some way to what we are about to discuss today. Now I'll begin by saying there are three things that happen when you sit here in this temple, in any mandir. And it is also taken from a little bit of educational psychology. There's the transmission, there's the transaction, and there's the transformation. Every single katha or discourse, there's supposed to be all three of these things. Some people, when they become a bit smart, I will say, they decide that certain things, the transmission part of it, is no longer important. We need to realize that when we sit in the temple every Thursday or every Sunday, or when we attend any Bhagavad, any Katha anyway, that you must open your mind to the fact that there's a transmission, that you have to sit there and receive something. The transaction is where we both, the Pandit, the Guru, and the audience, there's a transaction happening. And then afterwards, or while we are engaging in this transactional method, there's transformation. For some people, transformation takes longer than others. For some people, it takes less time. I want to start off today. I'm feeling a little bit that there's a little bit of tension here, so I'll start off with a joke. But before that, I'll start off with a question. And it could be taken both ways. It could be taken in a light-hearted manner, or, as we will eventually discuss, it could be taken in a philosophical way. So for the kids here, those of you who are under 18, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around, does it make a sound? You'd have to answer. Think about it. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around, does it make a sound? And then there's this corruption of this same question. If a man speaks his mind in the forest and no woman is around to hear him, is he still wrong? Right? So, based on this very short philosophical adage, I want to use this as the basis of what we're about to discuss today. And that is the nature of perception. So the answer to the question, hopefully you'll get it at the end. This popular philosophical adage continues to be relevant for questioning the nature of reality. It puts you in a different light. At least the nature of a person's reality. Talked about transformation, if it should become a feature of one's personal reflection. So for you to transform yourself, or for transformation to take place, you must reflect. In this case, it should. Why not? In the upcoming period, also, just to give a little bit of context, in the Hindu calendar, we know that Karavas is upon us. We are reminded of the story of Prahalad, and most importantly, the manifestation of Narsingh Bhagwan, that half man, half lion form of God. Now, remember and keep that at the back of your mind. And while I'm talking also, you could also look at the murtis in front of you. Just observe them. I'd really like to use this story to draw your attention to a significant movement in the field of research. It doesn't matter what you're researching, there's that thin line that connects all the dots. So whether you are an engineer, whether you are studying medicine, studying technology, it doesn't matter what field you are in. There's this thin line that connects all the dots, and I'll show you. So, in my field, literary research and studies, there's something that is happening, and it is something called animal studies. Researchers and theorists alike are focusing on building a model for reading and understanding the identity of the human being in relation to other species of life. Now, I remember I asked you, keep the image of Narsingh Bhagwan in your mind. If not, look at the murtis around you. You will obviously realize that God's manifestation, or some of the manifestations of God, there's the animal that is included, or part of it. Interestingly enough, when I encountered this trajectory of research, cutting-edge research, I realized that our scriptures have been narrating and generating such ideologies all along. If you remember, and I know you will, the Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, and you hear about Sri Ram, the bears, the monkeys. What is that? Isn't that the reality that man is living in perfect harmony with animals? So our saints and sages, as we later see, and various stories like those of you who would have been brought up on Amarchit Katha or the Jataka tales, they use animals a lot. But how we use animals is the real question here. If I call you a monkey or a donkey, if I say you have a pig face or a rat mouth, would you be offended? Yes, you will. But why? The thought processes and the reason for calling those things are derived from a negative association with animals and draw on the negative animalistic tendencies. So if I say, well, my mother especially, she sings beautifully, like a bird, or a mockingbird, or something like that, then we are associating a positive feature. So that is perfectly fine. But if I say somebody is talking like a parrot, there's a negative association. So, again, keep track of what we are really discussing here. Human being, animal. Now, it is unfortunate that this happens because we make the mistake of continuing a trend that being, resembling, acting, or identifying with the animal is a bad thing. Now, I was warned not to bring my childhood memories into it, but I have to. I remember our days in Ramlila, my brother and I, all of our siblings, all of my siblings, when we would play Ramlila. Normally, when you're a young boy, the easiest role to fulfill and to get through it is the monkey. So, at that age, attaching a tail and wearing on a mask and getting on like a monkey is fine. But as you grow older, it's very difficult for you to play that monkey. And there's a strange thing that happens to us. Why? You start to feel ashamed of doing it. All along as a child, and you need to question the understanding too of children. As a child, it's perfectly fine to play a monkey. I can say that myself too. I played a monkey a few times. And then afterwards, when you get older and you start to be, something comes over someone who is over 12 years. Right? They start to identify with different things and they start to be more aware of the image. So it is, they attach shame to this now. So our scriptures and images of the divine in Hinduism, as you can see, with the motifs in front of you, they use the animal to represent the relationship we should share with animals. Now, we also hear people give us advice. Be a man. Be a man. But when you ask, what is the definition of a man, it's very difficult to answer. So, Nalsingh Bhagwan, half man, half lion, and many other forms of the divine, these forms were used time immemorial. And there's a word I want to also leave with you. A few words, actually. I like to do this. I'm sure you can remember the word from last time I read. Post-human. And this refers to basically the fact that we are not human essentially. There are connections to ourselves, whether we are aware of it or not. For now, we're focusing on the animal part. We also have the technology. So believe it or not, you are part, or you are biomechanical. So biology, and there's mechanical part. Some of you have, unfortunately, pacemakers. Some of you may have a prosthesis. Some of you have some attachment to your body that is not natural. How do you identify with that? So this is what we're talking about. It's perfectly fine to use these technological parts of yourself because it helps you to keep you alive. But unfortunately, when you associate an animalistic part of you, then there's some kind of ill feeling. So only now, as I said before, researchers are identifying narratives in our science fiction and novels and films to postulate on the possibilities of what the future of the human condition might look like. You think that 100, 200 years from now, the human being will still be the same? Given all, if you are aware of it, given all the technological advances that are happening, society is gearing and moving towards a certain type of identity, and you need to be aware of it. Now, this awareness comes from, believe it or not, our age-old traditions, our age-old scriptures. In the Ramcharitmanas especially, Sri Ram lived in a post-human world. Animals, human beings, technology worked hand in hand. We always hear about the flying aircraft. When you look at National Geographic nowadays, you see documentaries on the Mayans and the Indian civilization were they more advanced than us. And in what way? Being able to say that our generation created the cell phone or the computer is one way. But how we use it, how we interact with it, that is what we're talking about here. So the way we live as human beings in this world is deeply rooted in a corrupted ideological mindset in which we fail to move beyond the restrictions. And there's this word that we use, this idea, how we think about animals. It is where we focus on the importance of the human being over others, an anthropocentric tendency in thought and action. And asking this question for some creates a suffocating philosophical bubble for diminishing the value of a world beyond and above the nature of man's perception and man's reality, where a world of bio-egalitarianism exists, whether man perceives it or not. So the nature of perception for mankind, you sit here, some of you are, I'm seeing that you're cloaking up, or some of you are yawning, or some of you are fixing yourself chair. I'm observing all those things. But that is normal. The world and the present that you are in is not comfortable for you right now. For some of you. So you adjust the suit. That is fine. So your experience with the world is based on what the world is, or the feedback that you're getting. If you sit and the chair is uncomfortable, you get up and you move. Not so? So we perceive the world through senses, and it triggers and stimulates response mechanisms in order to live, breathe, function in the natural environment. You ever went to a place and say, I can't take it, I can't take it, I can't stay here? Some people like that. And that is perfectly natural, because each one of us, we are different. So when we go to a certain place, and some people find themselves in these places more often than not, there are tamasic tendencies. There are things that in that particular space, temporal and spatial space here, that is affecting us negatively. Because the nature of the human being is divine. So our perception of reality facilitates our understanding of the nature of reality. So our senses, audio, video, visual, gustatory, taste, olfactory, smell. These senses are what we use to perceive the world. So there's a distinct difference between what we perceive as real and what is real. So let me don't lose you, right? I'll repeat that. There's a distinct difference between what we perceive as real and what is real. So whatever you're perceiving right now is not the reality. But then you have to ask the question, paradoxically, we can ask ourselves, how do we know that a reality exists outside of what we are experiencing right now? I can answer that for you. Yes, it does exist. A reality does exist outside of that. So don't hurt your head about that. And how we know? I'll go into that just now. So this argument, and we have also Hanuman Jayanti coming up, is easily digested when we listen and read the story of Hanuman Baba. And specifically the part in Ramcharitmanas where in his turmoil with the mala, or the necklace given to him by Sita Ma. Sita Ma gives Hanuman Baba, for those of you who can't recall, the most expensive and precious gift in the final pages. Hanuman Baba receives it with love and consideration that it was given. But that is an easy thing to do. Sometimes for your birthday, when you have your family members buy gifts for you, or they give you gifts, right? You're not satisfied with what you receive. Not so? Some of you don't jump for joy for what you receive because you expect something either better, right, or you expect money, right? And as you get older, I think you prefer money, right? So this is the same thing. Receiving the gift is easy, but the value of the gift now is what is coming into question. Hanuman Baba, as we know, he perceives this object as an illusion. An object that is not real. So what does he do? He bites into it, he breaks it apart, he uses his physical strength to diminish its value. Now, imagine and before I started, it was unfortunate that I saw a lottery ticket by a member here, right? So, if that lottery ticket was a winning ticket, and somebody take and knows that and they rip it up, what happens to you? The ticket is not even yours, but somebody rips up a winning lottery ticket. I think they say it's 15 million, if I hear correctly. I don't know, 15 million or whatever. Right? If they rip it up, it's not yours, but you feel in pain. Why? You're not going to get any money from it unless you decide to beg. So the onlookers in the kingdom of Sri Ram recognizes this object differently, as an object through their false perception to be of great value. Hanuman Baba is able to perceive the nature of reality by using his Divya Drishti, or divine perception, and beyond the limitations of these 5 senses. So in this case, Hanuman Baba had a last laugh. This simple incident from the Ramcharitmanas delivers some sense of ease and comfort in the minds and hearts of those who wish to perceive reality. Reality is not personal, it is universal. It is infinite. And unfortunately for us, without the awakened third eye, as we know in Shiv Puran, we can only speculate, and that's what we are doing now. So, I'm not going to say or put you in a box and say you can't get out of the box. I'm going to tell you how to get out of the box, how to begin this process. How can one awaken in this physical limited body an understanding of the universe that is beyond their control and reality? And sometimes we feel like that. The answer lies in the current trajectory of philosophical, cultural, and as I said, literary studies, where we have to problematize the relationship that we share with other species. So I said before, it is not personal, it is universal. So when we sit here, we have to recognize that the mosquito that just bit you is part of you. The dog that barks at you or bites you is part of you. These are the animals that we call lower forms of life. And as I said that, I'm reminded of Shankaracharya's message. I can't recall how old this book is, but it has to be over 15 years. The concept of avatar teaches us that God can assume any form, ranging from man, including woman, to animals. Look at it here. And one thing about those of you who remember Shankaracharya ji, if you listen to him for 5 minutes, sometimes it's very difficult to speak after. He could give an entire katha so perfectly that he gives you a complete message, the full package. So, in this limited body, the way to understand and how to move out of the box that we are in, we have to problematize this relationship that we share with animals. I'm not going to say go and hug this stray dog, you know, or say, yeah, mosquito bite me, right? No, we can't do that. We need to understand a deeper relationship, and we call them the animal others. Now, anthropocentrism, anthropo-decentering oneself. So we are decentering the importance of the human and now including the influences of the animal. Again, stay on track. If I say accept the animal in you, or that is part of you, I don't expect you to go and hang on a tree or tie yourself in a kennel. Right? We're not talking about behaving like an animal. So, a process, interestingly enough, mentioned in the pages of Sri Ramcharitmanas. Valmiki and subsequently Tulsidas Ji writes on the intense relationship man shared with the rest of the world. Now look at the difference in the same text. What was Ravan's attitude to Hanuman and Angad? And what was his final result? What was Sri Ram's attitude to Hanuman and Angad? And what was the result? So it's very simple. Now, the first word I gave you, anthropocentrism, and the definition is a human-centered view of the world. There's another word that is opposite, biocentrism. And this is a view that the rights and needs of human beings are not more important than those of other living things. So you want to understand how this is applicable to our own context? Think about the EMA in Trinidad and Tobago. Think about projects. Think about politics. Think about outside of Trinidad and Tobago also. Those people who believe global warming and climate change is a farce. This is what we're talking about here. Those who are not attuned to the reality that there are other species, there are other things at play. There's a scary thing that is happening also. We thought at one time, well, some people, scientists, believe that bees were not as important. We realize that bees are central to the food chain. Bees are central to pollination. Without bees, trees and whatnot, and flowers and whatnot, they are not pollinated. There's no continuation. And look at a bee. When you see a bee, you try to kill it, right? I'm allergic to bees, so I try to kill them. But look at the importance of these small insects and animals. We think ourselves to be larger. We think ourselves to have a brain. We think ourselves to be motivated by something else. So with that, we think of ourselves as better. Sri Ram's attitude to the bears and monkeys is an apt example of how one must change their attitude in relation to all species in the environment. The solution to most of the world's problems starts with this. And unfortunately, this change man must undergo is not really happening. So there's this Doha also from the great Ramcharit Manas by Tulsi Rajdi. Ram Nam Manidhi Padharu Jihade Haridwar Rama Jihade Haridwar Tulsi Bitar Bahiru Jo Chahas Ujiyar O Rama Jo Chahas Ujiyar Siyavar Ramachandra Ki Jai Sharanam Shankar Hari Om Jai Jai Siya Ram. What is the meaning and the extended meaning? If you want to enlighten and want to shine your inner and outer self with the light of God's blessings, which comes in our life in the shape and form of truth and beauty, then keep the gem like money of the name in the form of Lord Sri Ram's name. Ram on the threshold of your tongue. So this is what we're talking about, using our senses now. Sri Ram on the threshold of our tongue. This would spread the light of consciousness and awakening, enlightening throughout your entire self. By lighting up the lamp of God's name, you would start reciting its name again and again. And we'll do that just now, which would keep the flame of this new light burning in the mind and heart all the time. And thus, it will gradually begin to outshine your outer self as well as your inner self. And you must know a spiritual person. You must know a person who has focused more on the mind than on the body. Now, it's easy to say that, and I'm trying to recall what is normally said is saying, it's better to have a big mind and a small body than a big body and a small mind. I'm saying you could also have a big body and a big mind, but big as in muscular, right? Because a strong mind understands the importance of the body. If the body is sick, it's very difficult to do and to perform all these sacrifices and rituals that we're born to do. So people change the message. And this is why we have sects coming out of Hinduism. We have people who believe that, okay, the mind is important and focus only on that, and to the detriment of their body. I'm saying that, and this is what Shankaracharya also instilled in us growing up, moderation is key. You don't study too much, you don't eat too much, you don't sleep too much, you don't play too much, you don't laugh too much. So moderation is key. By removing all the darkness which is important towards the attainment of man's main hunt, and that is what we have to realize. When you talk about Sri Ram hunting, you see people use these words without giving the proper interpretation and explanation. So that is why you have, and there's no other word to call them, fools who say that Sri Ram hunt for meat or for animals. This is our hunt. We are also hunting, to use the word loosely. And we are hunting that inner peace, which undoubtedly is important for any human being with awakened consciousness. So, it is the nature of perception in which our senses and interpretations of data collected creates the present divide between man and other species. The argument, therefore, is not that man is on top, and I'm summarizing now, and is the best creation or most fortunate because of our brain power. The argument should be that all species are of equal importance and value for the progression of our future world. And you need to realize at the end of today's discourse also that this world may or may not be, or may not in its existence have man on top. So just maybe man may not exist, especially in your present form. So the answer to the first question I asked, it becomes clear, hopefully. And it is necessary for a change in the understanding of oneself and one's purpose, as change is the only thing that is constant. So when I realized that Karavas was upon us, and the last service that I attended with Pandit Balaram, he did make the statement that we focus less on nursing Bhagwan, unfortunately. And this was the reason why I'm focusing on nursing Bhagwan today, or at least what he represents in my own way. The perfect harmony between man and animal. The perception of one's reality is limited and restricted to the sensory inputs. We understand that. We are limited. If today for tomorrow you lose your sight or you lose your hearing, what happens to you? Your whole perception of the world changes. It has to. You have to change, otherwise you will not be able to survive. So, however, the understanding of the nature of one's reality as being limited is necessary for emerging from our false realities. So once we have that understanding, we can now move forward. So apart from Pagwa, I did mention Hanuman Jayanti. Let that short story and that short piece, that sacrifice that he represents, and the fact that Mala meant nothing to him, his perception, let's adopt that type of perception in our lives. And let it be a reminder as Hindus aspiring for perfection. Before I end, there are some powerful Sri Ram mantras I'd like you to say after me, and I'll give you the meaning. The first mantra we said, Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vidase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pate Nama. Second one, and you can repeat after me, Om Klim Namo Bhagavate Ramachandraya Sakala Jana Vashikaraya Swaha. And this, the benefit of chanting this mantra brings overall success and happiness to the person chanting it. Third mantra, Shri Ram Jai Ram Kodanda Ram. So, Lord Ram and the Kodanda, or the bow, are an unmatched combination of courage and valor. The figure of Lord Ram wielding the Kodanda is matchless in spiritual splendor. An aspirant gets many blessings by invoking Lord Kodanda Ram, using this mantra, which is a special wish-fulfilling mantra. Fourth mantra, Shri Ram Jayam. Regular chanting of this or writing of this mantra, specifically, and we know that special number 108 times brings success in all endeavors. Fifth mantra, Om Dashrataye Vidmahi Sita Vallabhaye Dhimahi Tanno Rama Prachodayat. So this mantra especially balances, and believe it or not, there are both sides of the brain. It balances both sides of the brain. Hence, restless and unstoppable mind becomes still, harmonious and balanced. And you know, we have the expression, you have some loose screws or something wrong. It increases the mastery over mind and senses. And especially for those of you who can't sleep, it does cure the problem of insomnia. Another mantra, Heen Ram, Heen Ram. Chanting of this mantra is the easiest form of meditation for those who do not have proper spiritual masters or guidance, which awakens the mysterious psychic awareness in the average individual. Look at how great Hinduism is, as well as in the spiritual aspirant. So it doesn't matter what stage you are at, chanting of these mantras brings some sense of balance. It brings you to the fore. It puts you on the table. Number 7, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. Chanting of this mantra induces one-pointed devotion or bhakti in the heart of the aspirant, which is necessary for tasting the inner bliss. Inner bliss. Number 8, and there's just a few more. Clean Ram, Clean Ram. When chanted with full devotion, and I know some people have problems with this mantra protects one against psychic attacks. So some people say, you knock me out, right? Psychic attacks, black magic, negative thoughts, and evil, invisible entities. Some people believe in this a lot. If you are stable mentally, these things don't affect you. And if you are not, you could chant this mantra. Another simple one, Ramai Namah. Reciting this mantra gets purity of mind and speech. Another one, very simple, Sri Ramachandraya Namah. This mantra, dedicated to Sri Ram, along with the moon god, prepares one for meditation. As a result of the healing sound vibrations, and these mantras are created alongside vibration, Nad Brahm, finding that equilibrium with true vibration with the divine. Different patterns of the mind rearrange themselves to become tranquil. Sometimes a psychologist can help you with this. Sometimes it takes these special mantras to do that. Another one, Sri Ram Sharanam Mama. Now chanting this mantra with a sincere heart brings balance and strength, and it heals the physical and mental body. Furthermore, the chanting of the mantra usually has the effect of creating a surge of bliss throughout the body. Interestingly enough, I was asked during a session, what happens when God comes over you? Because that person was asking the question based on an experience where God came over certain people and they was dancing better than the carnival dancers. When God comes over you, there's a feeling of bliss, of tranquility. So those of you who like to dance and who feels this sense of unease, something else coming over you, check yourself. Last one, Om Ramay Hun Pat Swaha. And this mantra, when chanted with devotion, begins to activate and awaken the healing energy in the Manipur chakra and begins to awaken and activate the entire chakra. This mantra precisely prepares the solar plexus chakra to be able to handle the inflow of Kundalini healing energy that gives the chakra its power. And just for those of you who may be a little bit lost, our body is made up of chakras. To be able to raise the Kundalini Shakti, there are certain ways that you have to do it. There's a chance that, and we know what happens when a river passes through the wrong way. or through a wrong channel, you could flood. So the same way, there are channels in our body, and there are certain mantras and certain Kundalini yoga or yogic practices to channel this energy up into your Sahasrara, the Brahman, the highest chakra. And then we overcome the senses like Hanuman Baba. So, at this stage, I conclude. I think the Havan has been completed. So, we prepare for Arati.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Jai Jagadish Hare Bhakta Jano ki sankat Das Jano ki sankat Kan mein dur kare Om Jai Jagadish Hare जो ध्यावे पल पावे दुख बिन से मन का सुख पति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण कहो किसकी स्वामी शरण कहो किसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा तुम बिन और न दूजा आश करो जिसकी ओम जय जगदीश हरे
devotees, we bow our heads, close our eyes, and we join in that universal prayer. Tvameva mataya japita tvameva tvameva bandhu jasaka tvameva tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. बोले श्री सीतारामचंद्र की जय, बोले श्री उमापति महादेव की जय, बोले श्री बजरंगबली की जय, बोले श्री स्वाहा माता की जय, बोले श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय. आसन लीजिए, take your seats.
Oh